All right, finally, I think I got it. Shit. All right, guys, so right now I'm just testing some settings. I was having a lot of issues trying to stream on this channel because it just seems like whatever settings I have for my other channel, they don't seem to work the same over here. But anyway, smash that like button. I'm not sure if I'm gonna play any games tonight, but right now I'm just chilling. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, so I was kind of debating on what type of game I was going to play tonight because, of course, I've got a shitload of games that I haven't finished, from Sea of Stars to Mortal Kombat to, I don't know, Baldur's Gate. So while I make that decision, I was going to watch some trailers or some edits. Yes, I've completely fallen in love with these edits for anime and some of these game edits. Like, some of these guys are incredibly talented. And I was going to do it with Tasha, but unfortunately she's not doing too well. So, be solo dolo tonight. But if you're in the chat, say what's up. Let me see. All right, well, I guess first things first. Let me see. Let's pull up this right here. All right, so earlier today, I asked you guys in the comment section or in the community section, I said, evil has many faces, and in your opinion, who is the most evil video game character and why? And of course, with 58%, most of y'all have chose Shao Kahn. And I guess I can't really fault you for that. I was leaning more towards Sephiroth, but a lot of people put some really good points in the comment section, stating that Shao Kahn has actually conquered realms. This guy has conquered worlds, and ultimately his plans fell apart when he tried to conquer Earth and merge Earth with the rest of the realms. Seems like it didn't work out. But in comparison to some of the other characters on there, like Ganondorf and even Griffith, Shao Kahn, I guess his accolades, the things that he's done, has far exceeded all of those characters. And it wasn't until I started reading the comment sections that I start really putting things in perspective. I was like, yeah, you know, you guys are right. Like, Shao Kahn, he is an evil ass motherfucker. And when you think about the characters like Sephiroth, Ganondorf, or even Griffith, they've done some terrible things. Griffith feeling like he's done the worst thing. But ultimately, as somebody said it in the comment section, like, Shao Kahn has murdered millions and millions of people. So I guess it doesn't really get any more evil than that. But I think it was somebody had made a good point for Ganondorf, and I was thinking to myself, out of all the characters on this list, like, Shao Kahn and maybe Griffith are the only ones who have actually had plans that have succeeded. Because ultimately Sephiroth, he loses. Ganondorf, he gets killed by Link every time he comes back or he spawns. And of course, Griffith, he murdered the Band of the Hawk. So you can say that Griffith is an evil ass person because he betrayed his band. But Shao Kahn has been around for eons or millennia. And during that time, he's betrayed and murdered tons and tons of people. So I guess I'm going to have to agree with you guys with Shao Kahn. Let's go ahead and change that because I do not want to listen to City Pop right now. But yeah, so I was looking at this and I was looking at the argument for Griffith. A lot of people, they seem to think that Griffith is like the most evil person in the world, but he's not. And so when I said, do you think these characters are redeemable? There were arguments that Shao Kahn could be redeemable, and I think in some aspects in Mortal Kombat 1 he kind of was, because instead of being like this warlord that was hell-bent on conquering Earthrealm and just ruling Outworld with an iron fist, he seemed like somebody who kind of was at service of the people of Outworld, which I thought was pretty cool. Let me see. And Griffith as well. A lot of people were saying what Griffith did was irredeemable. He wasn't able to come back from sacrificing the Band of the Hawk. But ultimately, Griffith was someone who he was willing to sacrifice and do whatever was necessary in order to achieve his dream, which was to have paradise. And so I haven't read everything in the Berserk manga because I kind of got tired of all the hiatuses and stuff, and so I figured I was going to wait until the series was completed, then jump back in. But unfortunately, Kentaro Miura, he passed away, so RIP. But from what I've seen from the people who live within Griffith's kingdom, they kind of like it. So yeah, so that's very interesting. I think like it's kind of like the only person that's really upset with Griffith is Guts. You said the most evil is Wesker from Resident Evil? I don't know, man. I don't think Wesker has anything on Shao Kahn. Like, when I was reading the comment section, and somebody had pointed out that Shao Kahn has conquered worlds. Like, that's worlds, man. And as I said, nobody on this list has truly achieved that goal, you know? Nobody except Griffith. Griffith achieved his goal of becoming Femto or becoming part of the God Hand. But I don't, because they never really analyze Femto or Griffith's character beyond that, we don't know if that's really what he wanted. Because even when he had dreamt about paradise or the world that he wanted in the future, I don't think it included becoming a member of the God Hand. And that's why once he became Femto and he was rebirthed back into the world, he kind of never went back, Zeus. Zeus is an evil ass motherfucker. I will give you that. I think Zeus is an evil ass dude. And I'm kind of surprised that I didn't put him on the list. I should have put him on the list. But I think that if Zeus was on this list, he would still rank under Shao Kahn. You know what? I don't know. Maybe. Because, Shao Kahn, he wasn't out there creating a bunch of bastards and then manipulating them. So, yeah, very interesting, man. Yeah, good looking out, Josh. I think maybe the next poll I do, I'll probably do something with Zeus on it. Or maybe do some other characters. Because, but yeah, I didn't think about that. But anyway, yeah, leave your thoughts in the chat. Let me know who you think the most evil video game character is. And we'll review it or analyze it. But anyway, let me see. Let me bring this down. Okay, yeah, so what happened? Yeah, so I was surfing the internet after I seen the Griffith thing. And I found out that there's this studio called Studio Eclipse, and they're actually making their own Berserk series. And so they posted up a teaser trailer for it, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is like one of those situations where if you want something done, do it yourself. And so I want you guys to check this out really quick if you're a fan of Berserk. and just leave your thoughts. And so I thought this was really cool. Just from this, what is this, 30 seconds? This is a 27-second clip. Teaser trailer. I already feel like they even captured the essence of Berserk. And it's very sad because we had full-blown studios. What was that? The 2016 release of the anime series, and it was terrible. It was almost as if the studio just kind of rushed through things. Didn't give a damn about the source material or the fans. It was just like, let's just try to get this out here to capitalize on the people who do enjoy Berserk. Because the 2016 series was terrible. And what did they make? They made the Golden Arc, the 3 Golden Arc movies, which they weren't terrible, but and I get why this story was rushed, because they have to compact all the elements of the series all into 3 movies. But I don't know. Coming from the 97 series, where there was just so much character development, so much stuff in there, I just really enjoyed it. But I didn't really too much care for the Golden Arc movies. You said Dracula from Castlevania. I don't know. I don't think Dracula from Castlevania was like a completely evil guy. But you said, who is my favorite video game villain? Never thought about that. I've been a Legend of Zelda fan all my life. So I would probably say Ganon. Ganon is my favorite video game villain, but not Ganondorf. And maybe that's just the old school Zelda fan in me that enjoys the pig face Ganon. But I've never, ever liked Ganondorf. And when I played the Ocarina of Time, I remember when they introduced Ganondorf, I was like, what is this? And I didn't like it. And so when you beat the game and he transforms into Ganon, I thought that was really cool. So that was like a really cool throwback. So I did enjoy that. You said Eggman, Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Robotnik is funny. He's a funny villain, but he's on the lines of, who's that guy? Bowser from Super Mario Brothers. Just like very silly, always has contraptions and castles and all this other shit trying to kill the protagonist. But ultimately, I don't know. Eggman he's on this, to me, he's on the same level as Bowser. So don't really care for Dr. Robotnik. You said best anime was the 97 Berserk. Still mad. Yeah, I really did enjoy the 97 Berserk, and I understand why they cut a lot of the content out of it, because they were, from what I heard, was the series was under budget. Or no, the series was low budget, and they only had so much to work with. And that's why a lot of the animation in there is like still animation. Like they'll talk, move, freeze, talk a little bit more, and then go from there. But they cut out a lot of the manga. But it's I guess comparing it to the source material, they did what they could. And what they did was, so far, it was a good job, I think. But anyway. So, yeah, I was watching that, and then I just fell down this Berserk rabbit hole, and I start watching all these Berserk edits. And I thought
Pippin! Turn around! Kuska, come back!
Is it Majin Buu?
Come back!
Oh, yeah.
That guy's really something. Since I first saw you, I knew I wanted you, Guts. I want you to join me, Guts.
Who are they?
The Band of the Hawk. He's even better than we thought. He's strong.
I've never seen someone who was such an amazing fighter.
From now on, he's a member of the Hawks.
It's different here.
I'd have to say it's because of Griffith.
He truly believes in him. This is strange.
Can't really describe it, but I think Griffith really believes in something beyond battle, beyond victory.
A belief? In what?
In everything. It is the dawn, just the beginning.
I will have my own kingdom. There must be one man whose preordained course of life is the key to ruling the world.
The egg of the king.
That man could have the absolute power of a god.
I think you're amazing. I'm sure your friends are equally fascinated by you.
They are my soldiers, and they will follow me into the jaws of death for the sake of my dream.
For victory! A dream.
A friend should never subsist on another's dream. For me to call a man my friend, he must be equal to me in all respects.
I can't live under the weight of his dream any longer. Buried by it.
You're turning your back on the Hawks.
No more. No more will I be anything less to Griffith than his equal. He's the only one.
You think yourself Griffith's equal?
I don't want looking down on me.
I told you long ago that you belong to me, Guts. Draw your sword and take your freedom from me.
Even if he hates me, or considers me a traitor, I must go.
If you believe this man to be a true friend, and if you regard him as a brother,
You're just following your path.
You made him weak!
when this man's ambition crumbles,
The Hawk has fallen to earth.
Griffith was no good without you!
is when you will face your death. A death you can never escape. It will be a storm death.
Its name is Bayonet, or Egg of the King. He who possesses it,
She said, once you possess this, you are destined to rule the world.
in exchange for his
Flesh and blood.
This is the eclipse. Let us begin the chant of offering.
He will offer all of you as a sacrifice. It is his will.
And you shall be granted raven-black wings, upon which you shall soar the heavens.
Thousands of comrades and the tens of thousands of enemies, you're the only one who made me forget my dream.
The path which you were destined to follow.
I sacrifice.
The brand of sacrifice attracts creatures of darkness.
I'm possessed by evil spirits. I'm cursed. This brand attracts them to me.
That brand. The branded ones. Those who have been marked become an offering to dark beings. And their days are lived out as a sacrifice.
Heed my words, struggler. Struggle. Endure. Contend. For that alone is the sword of one who defies death.
I'm gonna destroy every last apostle.
Struggler indeed.
This is war. It's no different from any other war. Nothing's changed. Nothing.
I've heard rumors about you.
Black swordsman. Could that really be him?
A man who stands alone in the darkness.
You were strong enough to survive the horrors of the eclipse.
You're one of the two who survived. You are our master sacrifice.
Without hatred, you would not be alive.
The God Hand.
Yet the vengeful flames trying to overtake you threaten to engulf the thing you care for most.
Jessica.
That's the path you've chosen for yourself. Is it for revenge?
He's coming. An apostle. More monstrous than that. It can't be.
The true Hawk of Darkness is terrifying.
It's impossible for humans to understand because they don't know pain. Why the hell did you come here?
I'm going to claim my kingdom.
For what you did? For all the ones you betrayed? I don't care about pain anymore. It doesn't matter now.
Your rage.
More important than pain, Griffith is this impulse that's rising within me.
Unleash all of it.
Griffith! Let go! I feel as though there's something violent. Let go of everything. Welling up from within. Let go!
He hardly seems human. The shadows around his blade. What are they?
That sword is forged by the malice of thousands of dying souls, careening to oblivion. They're all dead.
No, it's almost as if...
What can a mere human do?
With your sword, it is possible. Let go!
This is...
Let go!
Damn.
You should be dead, you little bastard. On that day 11 years ago, beneath your mother's body, you were the one who should have died. A doomed child condemned by fate. I take you in and you curse me. You should have died. You were never more than a pest. Following me around like a dog after you killed Shisu.
I'm sorry, Gambino! Forgive me!
You killed her!
For as long as you exist, shall you kill, thirst, and bathe in blood.
Gambino.
You shall spend your entire life alone, forever.
It's me.
She doesn't know who you are. What exactly happened inside of that tornado? She doesn't remember.
You cower behind wall.
Yes.
You'll fight your own war, right?
Instead of facing yourself.
I gave all I had because I needed your approval.
I guess I started that war.
Farewell.
Yeah, it happened a year ago, the day after you left us.
Wait, that's... It's the Midland Army.
You couldn't care less about that, because you'd rather be a deserting bastard.
2 years ago, when you vanished, you forsook those people.
You've forsaken us, haven't you?
Because you cast everyone aside and deserted them. You ran away on your own.
You weren't here when we needed you the most.
You have no one to blame but yourself. Left them broken and suffering with unimaginable pain.
I won't leave Casca behind again.
I know he'll protect her no matter what.
When did she last smile?
Remember, Guts! Remain who you are!
I didn't run away. I have to go. I can't get away.
Remember the reason you traveled. The reason you're fighting right now. You're the protector of the branded woman, Casca!
You keep getting hurt.
Casca!
It's because of me. I yearned for someone to be close to for so long.
If there's one thing I know for sure, it's that a human soul doesn't endure pain for no reason!
Casca.
Oh shit. So this edit, it actually, I think, really captured the Berserk series, because anybody who has seen it knows exactly what Guts has been through, and dude has literally been through hell and back. And if you read the manga, then you know that the anime doesn't capture half of like what he's gone through. So yeah, it wasn't until I read the manga that I truly understood like why he was so fucked up. And during the series, certain things would happen where people would bump him or touch him, and then he would say shit like, "Don't touch me, don't you ever touch me." So yeah, so if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a really good series. He said Guts is known as the Struggler. Yes. So Skull Knight calls him the Struggler, which is really cool. So somebody else said something about a villain that I forgot to mention in the tier list, and that was Arthas from the Warcraft series. And bro, you are absolutely right. Arthas is a top tier villain. The way he was a paladin of light, and he found his way to the dark side or whatever because he ended up getting, let me think. It's been so long since I've thought about the series. He got the sword, Frostmourne, which was the weapon from the Lich King, and it slowly turned him evil, and he betrayed his kingdom, and he became like this Lord of the Undead or something like that. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see, Arthas cinematic. which I always thought this was a cool cinematic. So this is the rise of the Lich King. Okay, let me see.
We stand now upon the brink of destruction, for the reign of chaos has come at last.
Heihachi? Bad guy? He's like top tier evil? Heihachi is a terrible guy because he threw his son off a cliff. He threw his son off of the cliff and then was like, if you if you really have my blood, you could climb back up. The kingdom and shit. Ah, my son.
Ah, my son. I knew you'd be victorious.
No longer need to sacrifice for your people. You no longer need to bear the weight of your crown. I've taken care of everything.
What is this? What are you doing, my son?
Succeeding you, father.
This kingdom shall fall, and from the ashes shall arise a new order that will shake the very foundations of the world.
So I believe that was when he, he first got Frostmourne from Northrend, and he had turned evil, and from there he had to get the crown to, I guess, make the cycle complete or something. And so at the end he fought Illidan and he killed, or he didn't kill him, I don't know if he killed him, but he ended up climbing all the way up the top of the Northrend and he got the crown. And then he put the crown on. Yeah, that was like the helmet of the Lich King or something.
We are one.
So I thought that the shot that they have here is like after he has ultimate power or whatever, He's sitting on this frozen throne on top of a mountain with his sword. And I remember I was telling my brother, this was like the most badass shot that any video game character could have. It's like you're on this big ass mountain in what would be like video game, I don't know, Antarctica or something. And you're sitting on top of this fucking mountain with this fucking frost sword, this evil ass helmet. It doesn't get any more evil than that. Like, you just conquer the world. It's like once you killed all your enemies, you've got ultimate power, you conquered the world. It's like, what are you gonna do? And this motherfucker Arthas, he's like, I'm gonna sit on top of this motherfucking mountain with my fucking all my treasures. I always thought this scene was like really badass. I think they have one more cinematic. So yeah, I should have had Arthas in the tier list. Cause dude, he was a badass villain. His character arc was so good, cause I mean he was such a nice guy.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. Child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power. Truest victory, my son.
Look at that army. Oh my God.
Of your people. I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
So yeah, so Arthas's character arc is really badass, from his transformation from Paladin to Lich King. And I just remember how incredibly cool it was to see him go through everything that he went through. And yeah, you're right, Vile. This was to me, the golden age for Blizzard, because back in the day, Blizzard couldn't do anything wrong. Like, the cinematics they did were high quality. The games they had were like all the games they had were incredibly high quality. And the Warcraft story was still kind of together. Now, I kind of stopped following it because it got so convoluted. But last I remember, something happened. I guess they killed Arthas off, and then everybody ended up getting like the helmet and having Lich King powers and everything. But it was really cool how he transitioned from a good guy wanting to do right by his kingdom into a bad guy that was leading the Scourge. Let me see if I can get this right. All right, there we go. Like, dude led a whole undead Scourge army against, you know, the neighboring kingdoms to ultimately rule the world. And so, yeah, I think that lands him on the list for evil villain. What other villains were y'all saying in the comment section? Because I know somebody said Heihachi, and I had to think about that for a second because I was like, nah, Heihachi, he's not really that terrible of a person. But yeah, dude literally threw his son off a cliff. I mean, I don't know, that's pretty hardcore. You throw your own kid off a cliff. Oh yeah, he beat him. He whooped his ass. Should be laughing at that. That's not funny, but that's pretty terrible. But yeah, somebody had also said, have I played Quest 64? Yeah, I have played Quest 64. I don't know if the wizard, the diabolical wizard in that was an evil person, but I know the game was evil. I remember on Nintendo 64, they didn't have any RPGs, and I was a huge RPG fan. And so when Quest 64 came out, I think I got my parents to get it, and I played it, and it was terrible. It was such a bad game, and I forced myself to like it because they had spent so much money on it. For any of y'all who own a Nintendo 64, y'all know that Nintendo did not come down in their prices. Even when their games sucked, they still sold them at like $70 or $80 a pop. So my parents, they ended up getting the game, and they paid, you know, full price for it, and it was terrible. And I just remember forcing myself to play through it, just because, you know, I didn't want them to know that I didn't like the game. So yeah, it was a terrible, terrible game. That in its own, it makes it an evil villain. But let me see. They still do. Nintendo is the Apple video. Yeah, absolutely. Nintendo still strong arms video game developers. That's what I've heard, and they get away with a lot of shit because of their name. But then again, there's companies like NetherRealm that don't give a fuck because if anybody has played the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1, they know that it's atrocious. And I don't know how Nintendo allowed them to release that game on their system, especially when Nintendo games are known for quality. The first party games, like you can't name a single first party Nintendo game that is buggy or is not of quality. All their games, first party games, are of quality. But NetherRealm, I don't know, they got away with Mortal Kombat 1, and I watched some of the videos online, and it's just it was terrible. Anyway, feel free to let me know in the chat some of your favorite video game villains. We'll go ahead and watch some cinematics, or we'll talk about them. But let me see. I had another cinematic. This was a Kratos, especially since we've been watching a lot of God of War lately.
When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. Find your way home.
Uh-oh. Wait. Let me see. Oh, this might be the same thing.
Does my request upset you?
Oh, there do they call to me.
F is a natural part of life, my love.
She's ready.
I wish only to be prepared for when my time comes.
Gather your things.
And you know what? I will say Kratos probably has the best video game character arc that I've ever seen after watching all these God of War games.
We are leaving.
Mortals must do such things. I am glad to have you prepare with me.
Ready.
A tattooed man traveling with a child.
The boy's mother is dead.
When the pyre is spent,
Face dead?
and you have gathered my ashes,
She wanted us to spread her ashes on the highest peak in all the realms.
spread them from the highest peak in all the realms.
What does this goal mean to you?
Oh, then you've come to the wrong place, little brother.
It's everything.
The highest peak in all the realms is not here in Midgard. It's in Jotunheim, realm of the giants.
You will do this for me.
Could not be what she meant.
She was a fierce warrior. And a good woman. He doesn't know what you are.
And I would keep it that way. You do not know everything, boy.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no mistaking it.
But at least I know the truth now.
There's much about me I would not have him know.
He doesn't know, does he? About your true nature?
The truth.
So you value your privacy more than your son, then?
I'm a god, boy. From another land far from here.
Kratos, ghost of Sparta.
When I came to these shores, I chose to live as a man. But the truth is, surrender. I was born a god.
Bringer of war.
And so are you. You do not want this fight.
I'm pretty sure I do.
No. You seem like a calm, reasonable person. Are you? A calm, reasonable person. The moment calls for calm.
God damn. Jesus.
I'd say the moment calls for calm.
You have no idea.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan.
Back before winter set in,
Athena.
there were some misunderstandings.
Put as much distance between you and the truth as you want. It changes nothing.
How does peace strike the esteemed?
All right, I'm gonna stop watching it because I think it might spoil some of the God of War Ragnarok from us. And if y'all didn't know, if you're new here, we are following the God of War Ragnarok series, and it is so good. As I said, God of War series, Kratos' character arc, one of the best video game character arcs I've ever seen. But the series, the God of War series, is so good. Yeah. But yeah. Damn, I want to finish this video so bad. You said Mortal Kombat 1 General Shao is just a mess, both gameplay and the story. Yeah, so far I've been enjoying Mortal Kombat 1. I've really enjoyed the story, except for the third act. I thought it was pretty whack, but I really enjoy the new character motivations. I enjoy the new character designs, and you're right. I really like this new version of Shao Kahn, where he's not like a like this rampaging warlord trying to conquer realms, but he's more of a I guess he's more of a want-to-be leader of the world, of Outworld. And one of the comments he made in the game was like, Shang Tsung said something like, you should be emperor. And he was like, if my people demand it, or if Outworld demands it, then I will. And so for me, that makes me think like his actions and his motivations are in service to the people of Outworld, which is really cool, because older Shao Kahn didn't give a fuck what the people thought or wanted. He just wanted to conquer realms. So yeah. You said General Shao is hungry for war. Yeah, he is hungry for war. He's hungry for war, and he's hungry to conquer, but he's only doing that in order for Outworld not to be weak. Which is cool, because that means that he cares about the people of Outworld, and he cares about his surroundings, versus Shao Kahn, who only cares about what he wants, which is taking over emerging realms. He said, please upload those reactions more frequently. We are going as fast as we can with the God of War videos. I believe we do 2 God of War videos per week, and we usually drop early videos for our patrons and members. But the only reason why we can't do more than 2 is because we do so many different games at the same time, in which we were doing Mortal Kombat, The Last of Us, The Witcher. We started Spider-Man, and yeah, that's all we can do on this channel. And then we have another channel that we manage as well. So we do what we can. But also, we're not in a rush. Like, we're really enjoying soaking things up in the God of War universe, because after we watch the God of War videos, usually Tasha and I will go and watch like a Norse mythology video to kind of check to see how the characters were, or what they actually look like, and how you know, it's amazing how the developers at Santa Monica Studios, they really took the written iterations of these characters, and they tried to depict them as best they could. Because one thing that we were completely shocked by was Thor's look and how they made Thor, because Thor is like big. He's not fat, but he's built like a strong man, and he has like red hair, and it's completely different than the Marvel Thor that we're so used to watching. So watching them make these gods and these characters like they have in the game is very intriguing, especially when you go back and then you read the actual Norse mythology. So yeah, so we're not in a rush. We're taking our time. And it allows us to savor the moments that we have with the game, because ultimately we will finish the game, and that will be it. There won't be any more God of War for quite some time. So yeah. Let me see. Oh yeah, and yeah, I have a job, and editing does take time, so sorry. You said, how do you join members? There is a button next to our name or icon. It just says join. You could just click that and it comes up. So members are Patreon, and you know, usually when we upload, like if I do we try to upload like on the members or Patreon like a week early, but if we shoot like 3 or 4 videos in the week, then I'll just put them all on a Patreon or members, and then I'll upload them weekly on the YouTube channel. But a lot of times our members and patrons, they binge through all the videos, And then they're like, hey, when are you going to upload more? And be like, yo, I just uploaded 4 or 5 hours worth of video just a second ago. So, yeah. Oh man, so this whole time we were reviewing video game villains, and I was supposed to be thinking about a game that I was gonna play, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to stream some Mortal Kombat tonight, or Sea of Stars, or even Final Fantasy, because I was going into my my PlayStation catalog and I was thinking what game I was gonna play tonight, but I have no idea. You said I'm not a man machine. Right. You said sucks waiting for the next drop. Yeah, I know. You know, it's funny because sometimes I go back and I rewatch some of our reactions, even after I edit them, and I'm like, damn, you know, this story is like very compelling. Especially now with the God of War series, since things are really starting to heat up with Atreus finally making it to Asgard, because I didn't think that he was going to do that. I was thinking that he didn't want to go to Asgard. He didn't want to try and fulfill prophecy, because it's looking like Kratos is going to die, and he did anyway. And everything that he didn't want to do or want to happen, like working under Odin, it seems like it's actually happening. And so it really does seem like no matter what they do, they're coming to find that they're fulfilling the prophecy no matter what, which is very unfortunate, very crazy. But that's also another reason why we're not like speeding towards the end, because I know Tasha and I were going to be incredibly heartbroken if Kratos ends up dying, because it's starting to look that way. He's getting older. He's not the Kratos that he used to be. He's not Kratos in the old God of War series. He's more measured. And seeing him like this is, I mean, it's kind of good to see him like wiser, but at the same time, like a certain part of me feels very sad because he doesn't have that rage in him like he does in God of War 3. Matter of fact, Tasha and I, we were watching the God of War 3 videos maybe about a week ago. And we just, we watched like a recap or whatever. And he was just rampaging through all the Greek gods. And there's just something really cool about that. There's something really cool about Kratos that doesn't take any shit. And he wasn't afraid of anybody. And he never got his ass kicked. Like, old Kratos rarely got his ass kicked. And there was no bullshit. Jumping into God of War 2018 and watching his first encounter with Baldur was like, whoa, holy shit. Like, this guy just punched him through a roof or that was story. This guy punched him over a cliff or through a mountain and everything, and he was really wailing on him. And I remember in the comment section, a lot of y'all were like, well, he's not using his full powers. He's not, not this, not that. And I was like, nah, fuck that. If it was older Kratos, that fight with Baldur would have ended that first encounter. Because in God of War 3, there was no second encounter. Like, Baldur was there the whole game. In 2018 God of War, he fought Baldur that whole game. Like, he fought Baldur 5 times. It only took him one time to fight Poseidon. It took him one time to fight and kill Hermes. Yeah. I think the only person he ran into multiple times was maybe Zeus or something. But yeah, so seeing that was kind of like seeing Kratos on a different level. So, it is what it is. Yeah, I think, and I don't care what anybody says. Younger Kratos, he was definitely stronger than older Kratos. Because he would have ripped his legs and spine out with Baldur. Even if he was invulnerable, he would have roasted his ass. Freya too. Freya would have got it. He said the only thing I don't like about the new God of War games is that the new fans think this Kratos has more character. Kratos has always had character and emotions, and other than rage. We first saw him in a depression. Yeah, I think that with the new God of War games, they're able to express more emotion through the cinematics. But yeah, dude he's always had character and personality within the game. You could always play a God of War game and you could always feel that anger, that rage. You know, it would be cool if they remade the older games with the new game engine, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So, but yeah, he's always been a well-written character. It's just I was only familiar with the God of War games from the first game, and I never played the second, third, or the PSP games. But I played the first game, but I was always familiar with the lore of God of War. Guy sells his soul to Hades. He gets tricked into murdering his family. The ashes of his family get on his skin. He goes on this rampage for revenge and kills all the Greek gods. That was all I kind of knew of the series, but I never kind of like jumped in any deeper than that. And that's why when I was doing the reactions with my wife, you can see it in real time where they were like, oh, he had a brother. And I was like, what? I didn't know he had a brother. And, you know, even learning that was crazy. But ultimately finding out how he was in service to the gods and they manipulated him and lied to him, all of them, even Athena, because my whole thought was, I thought Athena was a nice one. I thought Athena was looking out for him. But ultimately she wasn't. She had her own agenda, so. He said, nah, the original games are good the way they are. I don't want them to become modernized in this current era. Yeah, and that's another thing too, because because the games were made in a different time. The games were made in like early 2000. Things were just different. You could get away with a lot more stuff. I don't even think you could make a God of War 3 now the way that it was made back in the day. It's just, I don't know, somebody would find something wrong with it. They would call Kratos a misogynist or something. I don't know. Who knows? Just different time, I guess. But anyway, let me think. I still haven't figured out what game I'm going to play, so you have to excuse me. Let me see if I can play this. I know lately when I've been trying to stream Mortal Kombat, Streamlabs been getting really funky. You said Kratos' toxic masculinity? That's funny.
Having liberated the Hourglass and become Keeper of Time, my next task was to restart history. Not beholden to past events, I was free to craft a new era. It was with humility and restraint that I approached this blank canvas. After careful preparation, I began work, painting over the darkness. After eons passed, I sketched out the realms. After eons more, I brushed them in with life. In my new era, all beings will have the opportunity to find peace. Whether or not they do will be their responsibility. For my power only permits me to begin this endeavor. It is the duty of mortals to finish it.
Yeah, I played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 11, but everybody hates Scorpion. Well, they don't hate him. Just people just get tired of people playing Scorpion. And so for this game, I was gonna start off with Scorpion, but I ended up picking up Melina. But I've been playing Melina since this game came out. I haven't really tried anybody else.
General Shao. Nitara. Serena. Sonya Blade. Sundo.
Oh, you said Liu Kang's your main? Oh. You play him in Mortal Kombat 1? Alright, let's see. Okay, it's back X, Y, Y. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you guys have some more villains, we can do some more villains. Just figured I'd practice Shao Kahn. There he is. That's like easy. There we go. Said Sigma from Mega Man? I don't know if Sigma from Mega Man is like an ultimate evil villain bad guy. How about Dr. Wily? Who do you think was worse, Sigma or Dr. Wily? Switch. B and back again. Oh.
Melina, Nitara, Scorpion, Sonya Blade, Ying Fortress.
You said female Arthas? Oh, from StarCraft. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think with NetherRealm, why they go into so much time manipulation and stuff is so they can retcon their stories. And then do things like crossovers with DC. And then that's how they make it make sense. Because they'll be like, why is Superman in a Mortal Kombat game? Or why is Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat? And be like, oh, well, we open up a time portal into a different universe. You said you feel like doing time travel multiverses encourages bad storytelling. Yeah. I think when studios do that, it is a lazy form of storytelling. But like we said, in the case of Mortal Kombat 1, it just allows them to change certain things or start all over. Because even with this game, it allows them to introduce Mortal Kombat to a newer generation. Because this game got so much hype for a lot of younger gamers. This would be like their first Mortal Kombat. And if you can remember back in the day what your first Mortal Kombat was, like playing this game was amazing. Because it wasn't like any other game that was out there. There was no other fighting game that had this much gore and violence. And although it's more detailed now, like the ones back in the day, even watching like a pixelated character rip somebody's heart out was it was crazy because you've never seen it before. And I think that Ed Boon and the guys who work with him, they just did a phenomenal job just carrying the torch throughout the years. But I did fall off at Mortal Kombat 4. That was when I kind of got out of the Mortal Kombat story. And I didn't jump back in until Mortal Kombat 11. Because I do remember 9 and X but I didn't really play them. Mortal Kombat 11 was the first one that I was like, I want to get back into the series, and that's the one that kind of got me back into playing the game. But it's really cool that I've been able to play it again with Tasha because now she's like heavily invested into the story. You said your first Mortal Kombat was Deadly Alliance? Yeah, I didn't even play that one because I remember from the comment section when we were doing the reactions, people were like, "That's the one with Darius and Havoc," and because I didn't know who they were, but yeah, Deadly Alliance. I didn't even play that one. I don't even know how it went. All I know is that once they started getting into 3D Mortal Kombat, it wasn't as good as the 2D ones. So I think either Ultimate Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat Trilogy was the last one that I like truly played. But Mortal Kombat 4 was the one where I just fell off. I was like, ugh, I ain't feeling this. Yeah, they stopped using the motion cap characters, and they went full CGI. I was like, ah. Oh, it was that, and what was the Sub-Zero game? Was it Shaolin Monks or something? Or it was Mortal Kombat Mythologies or something like that. It was like they had a Sub-Zero game. Mythologies. Yeah, that shit sucked. Yeah, I barely remember it, but I remember when I did play it, I didn't like it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" That was like when they start jumping into 3D. Was not feeling this shit. You remember War Gods? Let me know in the chat if anybody remembers War Gods. Let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, yeah, this is the right one. Okay, yeah, so Midway, the studio that was doing Mortal Kombat, this was like their first venture into 3D. And I believe Mortal Kombat 4 was supposed to be War Gods. But they created this new IP so that they could test out the Mortal Kombat mechanics in the 3D game without damaging the actual Mortal Kombat IP. Because they have like a movie star actor. They got the same type of combos, like the same uppercut motion, and then they had finishing moves. And so essentially this was Mortal Kombat in a different skin. And the game, I remember, I can't remember if people liked it or not. But, well, you know what? They probably didn't, because we didn't get a War Gods 2.
Round 1, begin.
But see, it sounds just like Mortal Kombat.
Maximus wins round.
So it sounds like Mortal Kombat. It plays like Mortal Kombat, and yeah, and so I remember I did enjoy it when it came out, but I can't remember the overall feeling of this game, like if people really enjoyed this game or not. I think they have finishing moves too. So, okay. So they do have finishing moves. He just cut them in half. Oh, fatality. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this was, to me, this was Mortal Kombat 4 when it came out. And maybe they just decided to call it War Gods because they didn't want to ruin the Mortal Kombat franchise. Because I believe shortly afterwards, that's when they came out with Mortal Kombat 4. Let me see. Because something else I didn't like about Mortal Kombat 4 was they had weapons.
Wins. Flawless victory.
Yeah, it looks like the same shit. It's like they refined it. They refined War Gods and, you know, and just reskinned it with Mortal Kombat characters. But yeah, this was my cutoff point. After this, I don't remember anything else that came after these games up until 9, 10, and 11. You said Raider's face? Oh yeah. The emblem. You said it's so bad that they even got out of shape MK Annihilation Jackson. Really? What, in War Gods? Oh, hold on, let me see. You said, I dare you to look up old school, obscure, old, cheesy Mortal Kombat online called Mortal Kombat Federation of Martial Arts. What the hell? Oh shit, what is this?
Where's Ray, huh? Where's Ray at? Let's go, Ray, where you at, baby? Where's the...
What is this, on CDI or something? It's like very low quality.
Watch what you say about your future master.
What the fuck? Oh, okay, I see. It's not a video game. This is like some fan-made shit. This is like some guys using green screen and fighting on green screen. God damn, man, this is super low quality. Jesus. Deluxe, how did you find this, man? Or wait, no, that's not Deluxe. Who is this, Vile? Yeah. Jeez, man. You must have watched this way back in the day. This had to come out when YouTube first started or something. That's terrible. I don't know. You know, I'll say this. If this was like in the early days of the new internet, the early days of YouTube, then I will say that this was probably pretty cool. Only because you probably never seen anything like it. Yeah, it's like 12p. Yeah, if this was like in the early days of YouTube, this would be really cool because you never had seen anything like it, and to see people using live action cosplay Mortal Kombat characters fight each other would have been really cool. Oh, okay. That's cool. So on the website you can vote for who would fight at the end. Oh, that's dope. Yeah, I've never seen Deadly Alliance. Oh, they got a lot of characters in here. I seen Natara, I seen Bo Rai Cho, and Lee May. Oh, wow. But this definitely looks like the Xbox, like, I don't know, PlayStation 2, Xbox era. It's so weird. As like a gamer, there's like certain blanks in my mind when it comes to certain consoles. Because I think even as a gamer, there was a period of time when I kind of checked out from video games. Or maybe not that. I start transitioning into PC gaming. Because I think, yeah, once I start getting into PC gaming, I start disregarding anything and everything that was on console. And, yeah. It just, shit just changes. Because, like, I think with every console, there's always the console wars. People are always going to be like, oh, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Dreamcast, or whatever, Xbox or Sony, GameCube, or this. And, you know, I used to be caught up in all that, but once you get PC and you start PC gaming and start building your own PC and shit, and then start pirating games, all that shit goes out the window. And I think maybe during this time when this game came out, like during the Xbox years, I was probably downloading pirating games, and then you get caught up playing the same games over and over again. Because for all my PC gamers out there, y'all know that PC games are hella addictive. They're way more addictive than console games. Console games, you can play them. They'll have another iteration of the game out in a few months or a year or something, and then you'll just move on. But the way PC games were just designed, I don't know what it is, but they designed those games to be played for years and years and years. And most of y'all know that because of the games that you have been addicted to throughout the years. Whether it be Warcraft or MMOs or Skyrim, which Skyrim plays like a PC game. Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, yeah, and then the modding. So the modding was still kind of new. Because back in, I guess, maybe 2007, 2005, maybe, nobody was really modding PC games. So modding came a little bit later. But modding would extend the life of certain PC games. But I just remember, yeah, once I became PC gamer, like I kind of checked out of console games. And that's why I never followed up with like the God of War series or any of these other Mortal Kombat games. I think the only game that I played on Xbox was Halo. You said for the first time. You said what's crazy is that I recently built my PC and gonna start using it tomorrow. Oh, cool, man! Congratulations. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like when you build a PC, like it's a very satisfying feeling. especially when you get everything to work. Because Lord knows, like, that shit is not going to work the first time you put it together. If your PC works the first time you put it together, then you're lucky. But chances are there's something you messed up or something you got to rewire or move something around. Or maybe your RAM is unseated or something and it just don't go. So, but yeah, I remember I watched a YouTube video on how to build a PC way back in the day, and I built one. No. My first few PCs I bought them straight out the box from Best Buy, and that was mainly, I think, what was it? So I could play Warcraft. Yeah. I bought it so I could play Warcraft and Doom. And eventually it got to the point of where I couldn't play the newer games that were coming out. And so one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, you need RAM." And I was like, "RAM? What's that?" And you go to the store and you see that you can buy the RAM, but then it's like, "Oh, you got to open up your PC and put it in there." And I was like, I didn't want to touch that shit because, like, opening up PC and looking at it for the first time, you think you're gonna fuck something up. But I watched a little tutorial on it. Matter of fact, I was gonna pay somebody to do it. And they was like, "Oh, it's $100. You pay me $100 and I'll put it in for you." And I was like, "Hell no, I'm not gonna do that." So I watched a video on it, and it was easy. And I did it. It worked, and I was able to play my game. And so that's how it was. Like, you know, every time you would play a newer game and it would lag on your computer, I mean, oh, I need to buy some more RAM. And that's how I ended up kind of like upgrading my PC until it got to the point of where I just needed a whole new, brand new computer, and I decided to build one for myself. And then, like, once you do that, you're like the master of building PCs and shit. But now I don't build my PC for gaming. I try to build it for streaming and editing and all this other bullshit that we have to do. Oh, you have a 470? Oh, cool. Yeah. Right now I have a RX 6700 XT, which is really good, but it's only good for it's good for gaming in 1080p and a little bit higher, but it's, you know, what I'm trying to do now is stream. Like Tasha and I, we're getting to the point of where we're having to do content in 4K. And so my next build that I'm working on is going to be like a lot of higher end parts, because I want to stream and game in 4K. And I know it's going to be hard, but I'm going to try and see what I can push the limits of YouTube doing. Yeah, you said, "I don't like how modern gaming relies on network heavily, even with physical games. Once the network cut off, you're forced to play day one of a game without any patches." Yeah, I was having a discussion with my homeboy about that, because now everything's moving over to digital. Like, they're not doing physical game releases, or companies are still releasing games, like physical copies of games, but everything is digital now. And I don't really have an issue with that, because I don't collect games anymore. Like, I stopped collecting physical copy games a long time ago. And so not having a physical copy is less stuff that I have to carry around. But I think it should always be an option for people who want to carry physical copies of games. But I remember back in the day when companies would be like, you know, gamers have always been complaining about video game prices, but Nintendo would charge $80 for a Nintendo cartridge, or PlayStation or Sony would charge a whole bunch of money for their game cartridge. And they would say some bullshit like, "Oh, well, it's the manufacturing cost of producing the game and the disc or the cartridge or whatever, blah, 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 blah." And so when things started moving digital, they were like, well, because it's digital now and I can completely download the game off of your site, why do I still have to pay $70 for the game? And you know, game companies never really gave it a reason for it, other than you want this game or not. Like, I think for all the old school gamers out there, y'all probably remember the time where game companies said that it would be cheaper if the games were just all digital, and now that most of them are, they're still like the same price. Like, you don't get the pamphlet, you don't get anything, you know. On top of the fact that now, what's even more crazy is that a lot of these game companies, like, they push out these games and they're not even completed. These games be half made and full of DLC and bugs and all kinds of shit. That to me, that is like the most wild thing about modern gaming. The wildest thing about modern gaming is that you will pay full price, or you'll pay any price. You'll pay for a video game and you won't get the game. You'll get some like unready, rushed out shit. You know, yeah, it's hella annoying. Even with Mortal Kombat 1, when it dropped on Steam, I remember I had pre-downloaded it like a few days before, because I had pre-ordered it. And so I was like, okay, you know, when the clock turns 12 o'clock, I'm going to load this shit up and I'm going to play the game. And when the game dropped, everyone had to re-download the game because they had repatched it or uploaded some changes or something. And so we just had to wait, and it sucked. But now also, there's like the DLC features. And so now you'll buy the game, but then they have like extra characters or stages or whatever that is DLC. And my thing is that, you know, I kind of don't have an issue with DLC when it's an expansion, you know, because that's optional. It's like you can still enjoy the full video game, but then there's an expansion if you want to enjoy like an extra, you know, I don't know, 20 or 30 hours of the story or something like that. But companies, they don't, well, some of them do expansions, but a lot of them just are like, oh, well, you know, we'll have DLC characters in like 6 months. But then you'll come to find that the DLC characters are already on the game disc, or they're already in the files. And the company is just like waiting to milk the game for as long as they can. So, yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, MK1 on Switch. Yeah, we talked about it already. It's terrible. But hopefully in the future, they'll be able to patch it and make it look better. But for anybody who just outright buys the game in the store and isn't connected to the internet, they're gonna get a piece of shit when they fire it up. Yeah, like all the models are bad. But you can't even rag on NetherRealm for doing that, because a lot of the game studios do it. But I think that's also why Baldur's Gate got so much praise, because Baldur's Gate was one of the first games in a long time that as soon as you fired it up and you played it, it was good. It was good all the way through. Like, I haven't beat the game, but I've put in quite a few hours on it, and I have no complaints. You know, very, very fun game. And there's just certain studios that are just known for putting out quality games like that. I'm pretty sure Santa Monica Studio, the guys behind God of War, they're like that. They're not going to put out a half-baked game. How am I feeling about Suicide Squad game? And I'm familiar with the Arkham games. I think DC, when they come to like Gotham Knights or Arkham Knights or whatever, DC makes pretty solid games. So with the Suicide Squad game, I don't think it's going to be bad, but I just I'm not a DC fanboy, and I want to be because I enjoy Marvel content, but DC has kind of ruined a lot of things for me because they make shitty movies. Like it's when you have the budget and you have the right people around you, for me, it boggles my mind how studios can fuck certain IPs up. And it just seems like Marvel has already laid the blueprint of how to make a successful superhero movie. And maybe there was like one or two good superhero movies, but DC just butchers every single character movie they've ever created. And so when they say things like, oh, we have Suicide Squad game coming out, I was like, I'm not invested, or I'm not interested, because the movie was terrible. You know, so that's, you know, what I remember. I remember both Suicide Squad movies suck. So it's hard for me to want to play the game, which is probably, you know, based off of the comic books or whatever. But it's just like, I'm just not interested in Harley Quinn. I'm not interested in Deadshot or Sharkman. Now the animation is really good. Like I love DC animations. Like when it comes to their animated content, it is top tier. They're blowing Marvel out the water, especially with the level of maturity, because that's one thing that a lot of these studios, they neglect, is their more mature fans who want to see violence, hear swearing. We don't always want to see a happy ending. We want to see mature content, and DC caters to that. But their movies are terrible. Like, I can't think of a single good DC movie. I used to think Wonder Woman 1, the first one, was good, but Wonder Woman 1 is like a polished turd, you know? Everything else is shit. And Wonder Woman 1 is just like less shitty than all the other shitty movies. And you would think that, because I remember it did good in the theaters, like they struck gold with that. And so they followed it up with a sequel, and the sequel was so bad. I remember watching it. I couldn't even watch it all the way through, but I was like, how do you fuck this up? Oh man, that was terrible. Oh, Jesus. Did I like Man of Steel? Was that the one with The Witcher? I can't remember his name. Henry Cavill. No, I didn't like any. I don't like any DC movies. Let me see. Because even with the Justice League, I thought the Justice League was horrible. Aquaman was terrible. I did kind of want to see the Blue Beetle. It reminded me of the Guyver. But I knew, like, I wanted to see it. But I knew that going off of DC's track record was probably going to be bad. Black Adam, that was terrible. I did like the Batman series, like the Dark Knight, or the Christian Bale Batman. That was pretty good. I didn't like the newer Batman that they had. I didn't think Robert, whatever his name is, the new Batman guy, I don't think he did he didn't do a bad job, but the movie was just hella boring to me. I did like the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. That was really good. And it made me think, like, you know, that was low budget. They took a risk on this director who had a vision for the Joker. And it made me wonder why they just couldn't do that. Like, why not just, instead of trying to make a superhero movie, just make a really good film? Because that's what Joker is. Joker is just a really good film. There's not a lot of action. There's great acting, great dialogue, and a really good just dynamic among the characters. Yeah, but everything else DC did was pretty terrible. Let me know in the chat. Let me know what your favorite DC movie is. And then the other thing is that when DC's dropping all these movies, you're constantly comparing it to Marvel, because Marvel is just doing a phenomenal job when they were dropping Iron Man, dropping Spider-Man, dropping the Avengers. And that was one thing that I didn't think that they could get right, because a lot of times when studios take movies and put a bunch of characters in those movies, like they butcher it. You know? You would think like, how are all these characters going to get screen time? How are you going to make them all interact with each other that's going to make it fun and engaging to keep an audience entertained? And Marvel did a good job, especially with the build-up into the Infinity War and everything. But DC just couldn't do it. You said, yup, Wonder Woman 1 was the only good DC movie. Do you like Dead by Daylight? Yeah, I enjoy Dead by Daylight. I don't play it anymore, but when I was playing it, I enjoyed it. Yeah, Blue Beetle was like an Iron Man / Guyver ripoff. I think that's where they got the inspiration for Blue Beetle from. I'm not 100% sure, but I know a lot of comic book guys got inspiration from anime. Yeah, Robert Pattinson, the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Yeah, it seemed like it was dope, but yeah, I fell asleep on it. I tried to watch it twice, couldn't get through it. Yeah, Joker movie was like 80 million and it made $1 billion in the theater. That's crazy. You said your favorite movie is Flash? Really? Ah, man. I watched Flash with Tasha. I checked out once he did the let me see. Yeah, when he had to leave his, like he was getting breakfast and there was like this building that was collapsing, and then he uses his special powers and he goes and he saves the baby and the nurses and all this stuff, and then he like snacks, eats, and it's like, oh, peak energy. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I checked out. Tasha, she watched it. She was entertained. But I was just like, yo, this... I was like, this is stupid. They just... I don't know. I think that they took this from Marvel, because Marvel did it first. Marvel did it with Quicksilver. And the way they did it with Quicksilver was really funny. It was entertaining. And it was kind of like the first time we seen something like this. It was like Matrix effects or something. But when they tried to duplicate it with Flash, it came off stupid with me. And I was thinking to myself that realistically, if he was touching these babies using, like, he's so fast that he moved these babies, he would have killed them. They would have exploded or something. And that's why I enjoy watching The Boys. Or there's another one that has kind of like a realistic approach to superheroes having superpowers in the real world. Because I think in the first or second episode of The Boys, there's a guy that moves really fast, and he went past that woman and she exploded. And it makes you think, like, yeah, if people were walking around with mutant powers, lasers coming out of their eyes, or buildings collapsing and shit, like, there would be mass casualties everywhere. You know, I started Gen V, but I had to leave, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I just watched the part where she was finding out that she could manipulate blood and stuff. So don't spoil it for me. But yeah, I think DC should have done that. Let Marvel have the world that they have, but at least take more of a realistic approach to superheroes having superheroes having these kind of powers existing in this world. He said Galactic is a Marvel character. You mean Galactus? Or no, I never heard of Galactic. But yeah, ultimately DC just dropped the ball with most of their characters, and I don't see how they're gonna fix things. They got James Gunn, which he's done a ton of Marvel projects, but I don't know. And even Marvel, like right now, Marvel is fumbling with their superhero content, and they're saying, "Oh well, people are tired of superhero stories. It's superhero burnout." Blah blah blah. It's like, no, they're not. People are just starved for like good stories, because maybe for the past 5 years, Marvel hasn't had a good superhero story. They keep butchering it. I think the last good Marvel movie was Thor Ragnarok or something, but then they released the latest Thor movie, and it was like way too much comedy in it. And so these movies don't need to be funny. They just need to be good and well written. But yeah, Tasha and I, or mostly Tasha, she was watching the Silver Surfer story, like the animated Silver Surfer series. So she really likes that story, and then the characters like Galactus and Adam Warlock, I think. So yeah, if they made a Galactus movie, we would check it out. I think Galactus is an interesting character. Said Ghost Rider? No. I've never been a fan of Ghost Rider. Flaming Skull riding on a motorcycle? I've always thought that was kind of like when I was a kid and I seen Ghost Rider, that's cool, in a kid's mind. But being a teenager and then going into adulthood, when you look at some of these superhero characters and you look at them and you're thinking about their powers and what all they do, it's kind of lame. You said Nicolas Cage caging it? Yeah. Oh man, that made it worse when Nicolas Cage played Ghost Rider in the movie, because I wasn't a fan, or I'm not a fan of Nicolas Cage, or I'm not a fan of him in Ghost Rider. But there are movies that he's done that I do like. But for Ghost Rider seems like he seems like a character that an 8-year-old came up with. They're like, "Hey, Billy, you want to create a comic book character?" He's like, "Yeah, give him a leather jacket, and he's like a skull, and what else? And he's got fire, but the fire is on his skull, and it never goes out." That's how I see Ghost Rider. Like, his character is, I don't know, he's supposed to be like the Grim Reaper or of the superhero world or whatever. He has like the power of the devil. He's like Spawn. That's what he is. He's like Spawn of Marvel. And because of characters like Spawn is why I can't get down with Ghost Rider. Because whatever Ghost Rider does that's similar to Spawn, Spawn does it better. Carnage? Oh yeah, I think Carnage is awesome. The movie is terrible, but the character Carnage is really cool. He's like a more evil Eddie Brock. And I was really looking forward to... All right, first of all, I didn't like the Venom movie. I thought the Venom movie was whack. But it was whack, but it could have been worse. And so I didn't hate it. But it was good enough to watch one time and then not watch again. So when they said that they were going to do a sequel with Carnage, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna do the Maximum Carnage storyline. And then they had who was playing Carnage? Woody Harrelson. I was like, okay, he kind of looks like Cletus. Maybe he can do it. And so, you know, I was kind of hyped for it. But oh my God, man, they butchered that movie. It was so fucking terrible. Ugh. Let me see. And that's how he turns into Carnage. I mean, he was locked up in the insane asylum, and he breaks out, or he already had the symbiote in the comic books, but in the Maximum Carnage storyline, he's put in insane asylum. He breaks out, and he kills all the doctors and everybody around him. Ugh, just terrible, 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 terrible. And that's the sad part about it. Sad part about it is that a lot of these studios, they have the blueprints. Like the comic books are literally the blueprint of how you can make a good movie. And they just deviate or do their own thing, and they just butcher it, and it ends up being terrible. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that. You know, funny enough, we've been talking about Spawn. I didn't know that Todd McFarlane was a co-creator of Venom, and that he was working on the Spider-Man comic book when he designed Venom with another one of his writers or whatever. And so when you look at Spider-Man, Venom, Carnage, and Spawn, there's all the similarities there. And I'm assuming essentially he got his inspiration for Spawn from Venom, because Spawn literally looks like Venom with a mask on. You said it's amazing how Carnage went from high voice to low voice. Yeah, because Carnage has like a really maniacal laugh and a high pitched voice, and just. Carnage was one of my favorite Marvel villains for a long time, because for me, I felt like he could do everything that Eddie Brock, or he could do everything that the cool side of Eddie Brock could do, but he did it better. And he was literally like, I don't know, Venom symbiote Kratos. He just killed everything in his path. But the thing I didn't like about the Venom movie was that, first of all, it made Venom like this anti-hero, which they have him as an anti-hero in the comic books. But I think that what fans enjoy most about Eddie Brock is that he has this hatred and anger for Peter Parker, and the Venom symbiote hates Peter as well. Like, and so one of the craziest things that I had read was that they were saying that the Venom symbiote doesn't really hate Peter, but it has more like a scorned lover's relationship with Peter, because Peter rejected it. And that if Peter was to accept the symbiote, it would leave Eddie in a heartbeat. And I thought that was very interesting. He said, did you know that Venom 2, that acid will be revealed in a teaser along with the Scream in the first one? No, didn't know that. What do you think about Godzilla? I think the Godzilla 1 trailer, it looks really cool. I've always been a fan of like old school monster movies. My pops, my dad was into all those old school Japanese movies, monster movies. And so when I was a kid, I used to watch them with him. So yeah, I enjoy the Godzilla movies, the old school ones. And then the newer ones by Legendary were okay. The first one was really long and drawn out. I had to watch it a couple of times because it put me to sleep. Second one was better, but this other Godzilla movie, I think it's Godzilla Zero. It looks pretty dope. Yeah, I'm not even gonna play the trailer, but yeah, it looked pretty cool. Oh, wait. Vile, let me see that. You said, yup. Also, another fact, the original symbiote suit was created by a fan that mailed the design in for a black Spider-Man, and Marvel bought the rights for $300. What? Oh, that's crazy. I thought that was all Todd McFarlane. I'll have to look that up. That's crazy. But yeah, I heard that's what Marvel was doing. They was buying all their characters for like $15. You know, they were paying the comic book artists chump change, and they were getting all those characters. And you know, now it's like it is what it is now. Shit. And they're like, oh, Stan Lee created all these characters. Like hell, I think even Jack Kirby, his family has to fight for residuals from the characters that he created. Yeah, Stan Lee definitely had his input on how the characters or how the movie should be. And, you know, if you've ever seen like an interview or you've seen Stan Lee mentoring other artists, like the guy really knows his shit about the psychology of superheroes and what fans want. There's no doubt about that. But also Marvel, you can tell Marvel gave the writers, they gave everybody behind the scenes, they gave them that like creative freedom to do what they wanted to do in order to make a good production, versus DC, where DC was more like a bunch of suits, and they were like telling the comic book writers, hey, you guys, y'all might know comic books, but you don't know movies. Because in every single DC movie, they follow this same kind of formulaic structure where there's like a big giant colossal battle at the end, and it's usually with bad CGI. And so it could be like a DC suit saying, I don't give a fuck what happens, as long as there's a big battle at the end, and we're gonna get the shittiest CGI people to do it. You said, what Spider-Man films were your favorites? I like them all equally, I'll say. People gave a lot of flack to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but I thought Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man. I enjoyed the first one he did. I didn't enjoy the second one he did that much, but it wasn't terrible. And the same with Tobey Maguire. The first two he did was good. The third one wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. So far, Tom Holland, he does have the best Spider-Man, but I don't like Spider-Man with like a whole bunch of tech. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of Spider-Man, because Spider-Man really didn't have like a suit that was controlled by nanomachines and literally they turned Spider-Man into Iron Man. Like, that was cool to see Iron Man suit up, and then he could talk to Jarvis, and he can fly into outer space, and he could shoot lasers and have all this other shit. And so that's something that you would expect from a rich tech billionaire that spends his whole day creating computers and shit. But for Peter Parker, a high school kid, I like the idea of I got bit by a spider, I get super spidey senses and powers and shit, and I build my suit from a sewing machine, and I fight crime that way. It adds a certain level of, I guess, vulnerability, because he's not, doing that. He's not like impossible to kill, or he's not impossible to hurt. And you see that in the other Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire or even Andrew Garfield, where they're fighting the villains, and then at the end of the battles, it's like they torn their suit or they're bloodied up or whatever. But with Tom Holland, it's never like that, because for some reason his Spider-Man suit is super strong and it protects him from everything. And so it's kind of like, it takes that this superhero can get his ass beat away. And I think that's stupid. Because I think that's what makes superheroes cool is when you see that they can get beat up and that they're not invincible. Because it's not cool with a character like Superman, because Superman is Superman. He's invulnerable to everything. And so you don't expect Superman to get his ass beat. But when you have a character like Wolverine, which I thought was really cool addition that they did, was it was like every time his claws retract, or every time his claws protrude out of his hand, it like cuts open his hand, so he's actually injured. And when it goes back into his hand, it heals. I thought that was really cool, versus it being something else, mechanical or something like that. He said, did I cut the God of War episode short? I don't know. If you're talking about the latest one, I can't remember. I know some of the episodes we cut short when we're gonna break them up, or if we have to go, because a lot of times first of all, when we're shooting God of War, I have to get with Tasha with her schedule to see what she's doing. It's like, it's one thing where I have free time. Like right now, I have free time. I could be shooting God of War videos because I'm up, but then Tasha, she's asleep, or she's at work, or she's doing something. And so sometimes when we're shooting, it's kind of like we only have an hour to do videos for the whole day, or 2 hours or whatever. And we only might be able to get 45 minutes of shooting in, then we got to go, So I may have cut the episode short. I can't remember. But if you think we cut it short, then we probably did. My favorite video games to play, RPGs. Even though I don't have time to play RPGs anymore. So I would say RPGs and fighting games. Scorpion King, garbage. With The Rock, terrible. All right, wait. So here's a comment. In 1982, Marvel editor-in-chief Jim Shooter purchased the idea of black costumes for Spider-Man from a 22-year-old fan named Randy Schuler for $220. Dang. I mean, I guess there's nothing Randy could have did with the idea anyway, because it's not like he could have published his own black costume Spider-Man. So Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern, yeah, garbage. I think he's more fitting as Deadpool. He said, movie-wise, I'm just waiting for X-Men to come to the MCU. Yeah, absolutely. The only problem is you don't know if you want the X-Men to come to the MCU right now, because MCU ain't doing too good. They butchering everything. You said Andrew Garfield was a creep. He kept stalking Gwen Stacy, hence me calling him Stalker Parker. He sucked at hiding his superpowers in school. You know what? I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with him as Spider-Man, or even stalking Gwen Stacy, because it's no different than fucking Peter Parker obsessing over Mary Jane. Like, he's always been obsessed with Mary Jane. And so I thought it was really cool that they actually changed the girl up and they put Gwen Stacy in there. And then she died. Sorry, spoiler alert. But yeah, I didn't even think they were going to go there. You know, but they killed her. So that was really cool. He said nobody seems to talk about Fantastic Four, even though they had their days. I still like them. Yeah, Fantastic Four was great. The problem is that these movie companies, movie studios, they don't know how to manage team movies with multiple superhero characters in it, because all the Fantastic Four movies suck. And as I said, you know, before, the blueprints in the comic books, they could literally copy the comic book panel for panel or as a storyboard onto a movie and it would be good, and they just don't. They always add some weird kind of stupid shit in here that doesn't make sense. Or how compelling the villain might be. They change it around and they make the villain's motives something else. And they do that all the time. And I feel like it's either the director or it's somebody behind the scenes that's like, I want to take this property and I want to make it my own. I want to make it so that everyone, when they see this movie, they'll be like, oh, this is a John Smith film. And he has a particular style for it. But then they end up butchering it. And it's like, just, you know, don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, there's certain liberties that you can take, but ultimately, like, when you follow the blueprint that's out there, things come out a lot better. That's why Marvel did good with the Avengers. Like, there was this huge buildup for Thanos to getting the Infinity Stones and getting the Infinity Gauntlet. And once he had it, it was like ultimate power. And they didn't deviate from that. He said best Spider-Man movies 1, 2 with Tobey Maguire. Yeah, 3 was kind of wonky. Oh man, I'm way behind on these comments. You said Null, the king or god of the symbiotes. I'm not too familiar with the Venom lore, so I don't know too much about like the king of the symbiotes. I mean, I've heard about it, but not too familiar with it. He said the shittiest show that doesn't make sense is She-Hulk. Yeah, She-Hulk, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. I did enjoy watching it. There were certain parts of it that I was kind of like, but I think at that time, like, I was so starved for Marvel content or superhero content that you kind of like force yourself to watch it, because it was the same way with the with what's the other the girl, Miss Marvel. It was the same way with that. Miss Marvel series was stupid, but I watched it all the way through because I'm so starved for superhero content. So he said, I didn't like how Gwen Stacy placed herself in open danger. Spider-Man is fighting the new Goblin. Let me walk. Right, yeah, stuff like that. It didn't make sense. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes with some of these stories, like, it's not hard for you to make it make sense. Like, that's all they have to do is, you know, maybe, I don't know, go over the lines, or when you're getting ready to shoot, and just, somebody just taking a step back and criticizing it and say, hey, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't seem logical. If Spider-Man and the new Goblin, Green Goblin, are having a battle, Why is this person walking into the line of fire? You know, certain things like her running away and then getting swooped up by the goblin would make sense, because then you say, what would a real woman do in a situation like this? You said the next Loki season better be good, hopefully. I have high hopes for it. I didn't think that the first Loki season was going to be good, but it was pretty good. I just feel like they're not going to have Jonathan Majors in it like they anticipated, and so it might not be that good. I think Jonathan Majors is a great actor. I don't know too much about the allegations that he has going on. I hope it's not true, but if it is, it's, you know, it's unfortunate. But his version of Kang the Conqueror, it can be good. I like how they're adding, I don't know, kind of like a realistic approach to this character, because they have one, what do they call him? Version of him, which is very silly, but then they have another version of him that's very serious. And I don't feel like they utilized him correctly in the Ant-Man movies. So, but maybe they would do it right in the Loki series. Oh, Scar. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. You know, I think I've been streaming for quite some time, hanging out with y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and get some sleep. So thank y'all so very much for hanging out with me, playing some video games and talking some shit. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll have some more God of War. And I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I'll see what Tasha thinks, because we were going to move on to another game series. Or even pick up the pace with the Witcher content, because we haven't released some Witcher stuff lately. But I'll keep you guys updated. Anyway, go ahead and have a great evening, y'all, and I will see y'all later. Take care.